One of the most often overlooked relationships that you have, but one of the most important relationships you have, is having a true friend. And having a true friend becomes increasingly difficult in our busy, fast-paced world where so much seems to just resonate right around the surface as we pass each other by at neck-breaking pace. I mean, you probably rushed here this morning, you got your family ready, you're winging shirts around and coffees around, and it seems like we get going so fast. And one of the casualties of the way we operate these days with our schedules and with our online presence, one of the casualties is true and deep friendships. But yet they're so important. In fact, they're not just important to your experience right now. They're important to your future and how you will be able to walk through some of the most difficult, most challenging experiences you will ever face. True friendship is extremely important. Yet, no one's writing poems about true friendship. Like no one's writing, roses are red, violets are blue. I just want to be friends with you, right? Like nobody's sitting down and writing, roses are red, marigolds are yellowish. Yellow, I want to be your friend because you seem so mellow. Nobody's writing poems like this because friendship as a relationship always plays second fiddle, always drops down to second tier to romantic love. You see, nobody cares what Bieber and Posty were doing last week, but what Bieber and his new fiancée were doing is blasted all over every cover of every magazine in every grocery store. We always prioritize or even infatuated with, give our attention to romantic relationships, and dropping into second place is friendship. But friendship, in many ways, is just as or more important to your life and your future than romantic relationship. There's no songs written about friendship. Well, if you go back to like Biz Markie, you say he's just a friend. You say he's... No, wrong crowd. That's about friendship, but it's not really about friendship. There's a song like, I get by with a little help from my friends, but I'm pretty sure the way you get by in that song is not recommended in church. Like there's some French Queen sings, you're my best friend. I cannot do Queen, but all of these songs, they're not really about true friendship. True friendship, it gets dropped down into second fiddle, but it's so important to your future. In fact, it's a need that you have. It's a need you were designed for by God, and it's an extremely good indicator of what your life will look like next year, in the next 4 years, in the next 5 years. You show me your 5 closest friends, the 5 people you spend the most time with, and I'll show you your future. And I wish that wasn't true. But in my life, it's proven to be true over and over and over again. And in fact, it's even scriptural because in Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 20, it says, walk with the wise and become wise. It's relational. It's not a textbook. It's not an intellectual exercise. It's a relational experience based on who you are spending your time with. It goes on and it says, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Many of you maybe heard it yelled at you by your mom or grandparent or someone in your life who loved to just pull 1 Corinthians 15:33 out. It says, do not be misled. Don't be fooled. Don't mess this up. Don't fool yourself. Bad company corrupts good character every time. You see, we need deepening friendships. And our friendships, the people we spend the most time with, it's a huge indicator of what your life's going to look like down the road. Not only that, but it's a huge indicator of how you will walk through life when life gets hardest. We all need true friends, and yet it's becoming harder and harder to develop true friendships. The bond of a true friend is special. In Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 24, it says, "One who has unreliable friends comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." The bond of friendship is special and it's deep. It's so deep that in many ways it's even deeper than our family relationships. But it's not subsurface. It's not the things you experience in a social media-driven, fast-paced world. True friendship is not likes, it's not shares. It's not when somebody agrees with you every time you say something that they already agree with. True friendship is not somebody that just shows up into your life when it's easy or convenient for them. They're not somebody that just shows up when they need something or are broken and need your help. True friendship is deep. It's a bond that's special. It's meaningful. True friendship is about acceptance, even when you don't agree. True friendship is about a mutual understanding of each other, even though you're not always going to see things the same way. True friendship, it's authentic, it's mutual, it's constantly deepening. True friendship is beautiful and intimate. I'm so thankful for the true friends in my life who have continued to love me even when I made that a pretty hard thing to do. I'm so thankful for the true friends in my life who, even when they disagree with me, my politics, my theology, my stance on something, even when they disagree with some of my behavior or what I say, I'm so thankful for the true friends who have loved me and accepted me and showed me understanding and care and empathy even when it wasn't easy. You see, true friendship, it doesn't operate just below the surface of acquaintance. True friendship operates on a deep, life-giving, soul-caring level. And it always starts around something important shared. This is really important if you're looking for true friendship in your life. It always starts around something that's important and shared. There's this great story of friendship found in 1 Samuel chapter 18. And flip there. We're going to spend some time. Pull out your phones. Scroll. Pull up a Bible app. Steal something from your neighbor. I don't care how you get there. Just listen in to me. Whatever you want to do. It's all good. In 1 Samuel chapter 18, it starts the story of one of the greatest and deepest friendships recorded in the Bible. And it's a friendship between a prince named Jonathan, whose dad was named Saul and was the king of Israel, and this guy named David, who is a farmer boy out spending most of his time tending flocks of sheep. But he was tapped and anointed by God to be the next king of Israel, though he was young and small in stature. Aren't you glad that God doesn't pick people the way we pick people? Aren't you glad that God looks at the heart and loves us right where we're at? He had chosen David, and David's experience had been incredible. He was a courageous young man, and he had a bunch of older brothers who were fighting along the line for the nation of Israel, for King Saul, against this army called the Philistine army. And what's crazier about this army is they had like WWE superstar Goliath. He's like huge, giant of a man, literally giant of a man. And Goliath was this huge giant who was on the Philistine side, and he would step out and taunt God and taunt the nation of Israel and taunt the king and taunt everybody. Bring it on. You want to fight me? Winner takes all. Your God's got nothing, and I can't wait till we destroy you. This is going to be so easy. And along comes little David, bringing some supplies to his older brothers, and he hears the taunts of Goliath. And he's like, why isn't anybody doing anything about this? Nobody's going to challenge him? Like, it's not about me, it's about God. And so he goes in and they load him up with too much armor that he couldn't even carry. He says, forget this. God's on my side or he's not. And he takes a slingshot with some stones and he knocks out Goliath and cuts off his head. I did that part really quick because it's kind of gross. And I don't know where you're at this morning, 11 o'clock. You seem a little sleepy. And all of a sudden, the guy starts talking about chopping off heads, and everybody gets a little weird. He picks up the head. It's getting worse. He picks up the head, and he goes to meet Saul, who had sent one of his guys to go get David because he didn't know who he was. David, he brings over and he's talking to Saul and he's still holding the head. And it says in the end of 17, whose son are you, young man? And David said, I'm the son of your servant Jesse of Bethlehem. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return to his home, to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Jonathan took off his robe, the robe he was wearing, and gave it to David along with his tunic and even his sword and his bow and his belt. You see, a true friendship, it starts around a shared and important experience or mission. And Jonathan, he was a warrior who had been fighting the Philistine army long and hard. It was crazy because he was the prince and probably in most people's mind the person who would become the next king. And here into his life walks this other young man who would become king. He had a warrior spirit too. Jonathan and David had this shared mission of defending God and protecting Israel and courageously stepping out into the battle to do what needed to be done. And around this shared mission grew this heart of true friendship. True friendship, it always takes investment, though. And investment always takes risk. And Jonathan would end up risking so much at the start of this friendship. And by the way, if you don't have friends, this is a great place to start. Where we have a shared mission, a shared family, a shared view, a shared approach to people in our community with love and care and acceptance and truth. And I mean, if you're looking for deeper friendships, if you're looking for meaningful friendships, you don't have to go wonder where they're hidden behind a bush. Like, you literally are gathering with 300 options every Sunday. Okay, half that because you go to one service and the other half goes to the other service. But you get what I mean. What better place than where you have a shared faith, a shared journey. And guess what? You're not going to agree with everybody in this room on everything. There's going to be things that you're going to take different stances on and different views and different approaches. But true friendship starts around a shared mission. And it takes an investment that takes risk. So you have to stop popping in and out. Maybe you have to linger a little bit more. Have a conversation, even though it makes you uncomfortable. Introduce yourself to somebody. Maybe you have to grab an extra cup of coffee or ask somebody to go to lunch with you. I don't know, but a deepening friendship, it always starts around something shared that's important. Look at all your friends. Maybe your best friends were people that you just soccer parent with, or baseball parent with, and your kids just happen to be on the same team, but there you are every weekend slugging it out on those metal benches. I hate those metal benches. They're the most uncomfortable benches in the world. Why can't somebody do something about aluminum metal benches at sporting events? But there you are, you're slugging it out weekend after weekend, booking doctor visits because of the abuse you're taking at these tournaments, and and you have a shared important experience or mission to parent together at soccer games. Or maybe your closest friends, your truest friends are, you just went to junior high together, and talk about awkward. There's nothing more awkward than junior high. You got weird hair. Your parents should have never let you out of the house wearing that stuff because it's just a little too matchy. And, you're going to school with some people, and it's difficult, and it's hard, and it's awkward, and your voice is changing, and you have braces, and you want to talk to the girl, but you don't want to talk to the girl because you're afraid of what the girl's going to say, and she makes your palms sweaty. And you share that experience. I'm not talking about me. What are you laughing at? You share that experience. It's the start of some of your deepest and most meaningful friendships. But you can't just start and stop, because true friendship takes investment. And investment always means risk. Always. Maybe you've been holding back, just operating just below the surface, because you've been afraid of being rejected, or you're being afraid of if somebody disagrees with you, how's that going to go? You've been afraid to take your friendships to the next level because you're afraid of what it's going to cost you. It may cost you something, but finding a true friend who loves you no matter what is always worth it, and you need it. Here's 4 ways to invest in deepening your friendships. Or, here's 4 ways to be a friend. Because to get a true friend, you have to start being a true friend. They don't just show up all the time out of nowhere. They don't grow on the tree in your backyard. You have to start being a true friend. So here are 4 keys. Get your pens out, write it down, type it into your phone, stick it on your Twitter. I don't know how you remember stuff. Just don't write on your neighbor, because that gets really weird. Although that may be the start of a beautiful friendship. Who knows? Maybe they really love having their arm written on. Shared experience. There's 4 ways to invest in deepening relationships, and the same 4 ways to take your relationship to the next level are the 4 ways to start being the friend you need to have in life. And the first one is, you just have to show up. But not just show up when it's convenient, not just show up when it benefits you. You have to show up for a true friend. If you flip the page over in the story of David and Jonathan to chapter 19, you see David's experience is kind of crazy. In between what we read in 18 and what we read in 19, he's in the court of Saul playing music for Saul, and he's growing and he's learning, but increasingly people are saying things like, wow, Saul killed like 1,000 bad guys, and David killed like 10,000. Saul gets really agitated by this, and he's like, no way, why are people talking about him? And in his heart, bitterness starts to grow, and a tension starts to grow that would boil over with Saul wanting to just assassinate David. Talk about a relationship getting bad. This was the start to what would become one of the most difficult and longest painful journeys David would take in his life. And when you face the journey that gets difficult, when you have to walk through life, when it gets hard and confusing and painful, that's when a true friend will show their colors in your life. In 1 Samuel chapter 19, Saul told his son Jonathan and all of the attendants to kill David. But Jonathan warned him, my father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding and stay there. I'll go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. I'll speak to him about you, and I'll tell him and will tell you what I find out." Jonathan spoke well of David. He spoke well of David to Saul, his father, and said to him, "Let not the king do wrong to his servant David." Saul listened to Jonathan and took an oath, "As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death." I mean, when things got bad for David, Jonathan showed up. He could have left it up to chance or someone else. He could have thought maybe somebody else will help him. Maybe my father's just spouting off. He can't be serious. David's a good guy. He takes the step to show up. You see, you have to show up even when it's not convenient for you. Even when it's difficult, even when it disrupts your schedule. When you see a post, you don't just like it. When that post screams, "I need a friend," you show up and you be a friend. But Jonathan showed up for David in two ways, and they're equally important. He showed up in presence, and he also showed up on behalf of. Some of us, we're really good at showing up. We'll stop by, we'll ring the door, we'll make the phone call, we'll shoot the text whenever we get wind that a friend has a need or is going through a rough patch. But equally important is showing up on behalf of a friend. You want to deepen your relationships? Make your lips the place their name is the safest. Show up on their behalf. When things are people are questioning them or talking about them, when people are wondering or gossiping, show up on their behalf and stand before circumstances and people on behalf. You want a true friend, you have to show up, and their name has to be safest when it's on your lips. Jonathan, he showed up, and the second thing he did, you ready for it? The second thing he did is their relationship was just you have to be real. No more pretending. No more trying to just agree with what your friend says all the time. You just have to be honest and open and real to deepen a friendship. It goes on in chapter 20, and David's journey got crazy. Saul broke his oath to Jonathan, threw a spear at him, trying to kill him. Jonathan escapes. David escapes. David's wife hides him, which is crazy because David's wife was Saul's daughter. Saul comes hunting for David at his daughter's house. His wife helps him escape. He's on the run. Talk about confusing and painful and what happened to my life? One minute, some guys tell me I'm going to be the next king. Next minute, I'm killing Goliath. Next minute, I'm in the court of the king. And now I'm on the run for my life. It's insane. And in chapter 20, it says, David fled from these towns and went to Jonathan and asked, "What have I done? What is my crime? How have I wronged your father that he is trying to kill me?" And Jonathan said, "Never, you're not going to die. He doesn't do anything great or small without me. Why would he hide this from me if it's not so?" And David says, your father knows what I've found, that I found favor in your eyes. He's hiding it from you. Jonathan said, "Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it for you." This real conversation that drives past the surface to the deeper, real hurts and pains and questions and fears in life. Do you have a true friend that knows your secrets, that you share your fears and doubts with? Do you have a true friend that you can go and be real with when you've messed up as a dad or a husband or a wife? When you've made a mistake at work? Do you have somebody you can get real with? The second thing to deepen your friendships or to be the kind of friend you need is to just start being real with people. The third thing is exercise emotional intelligence. Do you know what emotional intelligence is? Emotional intelligence is being able to read where someone is at emotionally. It's being able to control and digest your own emotions. It's being able to show understanding to other people even when you disagree with them. It's being able to exercise empathy and understand where they're coming from and what they're saying. Emotional intelligence is an important part of every relationship, and it's especially important when it comes to friendships. And Jonathan, he exercises emotional intelligence in verse 4 when he says, whatever you want me to do, I'll do for you. He could have blown him off. My dad's not, I know everything my dad does. David, you're just being paranoid. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think what you're going through, you're kind of exaggerating it. Maybe these questions you have you been letting your mind run? Instead, Jonathan, instead of blowing him off, instead of writing the circumstances of David off, instead of just saying you should toughen up or stick it out or stop being a coward or what are you worried about, all things we regularly say to people that are important to us in life, instead of doing that, he shows empathy and understanding. He says, what do you want me to do? I'll do it. The third thing is to exercise emotional intelligence in your relationships. Give your friends the benefit of the doubt. Exercise understanding. Figure out where they're coming from. Empathize with them. Connect your heart to theirs. And the fourth thing, the fourth way to deepen a friendship you already have, or to be the friend that you need, the fourth way is to provide a plan forward, a path forward. A true friend always shows a path forward. Listen, you can have a friend. You can have a friend that has high emotional intelligence and empathizes and understands what you're going through all the time. You can have a friend that shows up for you. You can have a friend that gets real and is real in their conversations for you. But if that, you can have all of those three things and still be missing this most important part of friendship, which is providing a path forward for your friend. You see, some of us, we have friends that are real. We have friends that show up. We have friends that understand us, but they're constantly pulling us down, holding us back. They want to keep us. They don't want to lose us. And so they just, out of their own fear and insecurities, they hold us back. But a true friend lets go and pushes forward the path that a friend needs to be on. Jonathan and David, they put this plan together. Jonathan says, I'm going to go talk to my father. We'll have dinner. You don't show up. When you don't show up, I'll be able to read my father, see what he says about you. If you're in danger for his life, I'll come out to this field, go hide behind that rock. I'll bring a servant boy. I'll shoot an arrow. And if I yell to that servant boy that the arrow, that he needs to go further to find the arrow, that's the symbol, the code for you. You have to get out of here. My dad's serious. He's going to kill you. And so Jonathan goes to this dinner. Saul's enraged about David, wants to kill him. Jonathan goes out and in his great pain, knowing that this will be the end of seeing his friend. This will be the end of their conversations and camaraderie. This would be the last time, likely, they ever spent time together. He shoots the arrow and he says, go further. His servant boy leaves. Jonathan goes out to see David. They embrace, cry together, mourn this different chapter in their friendship. But the whole time, Jonathan was showing a path forward and pushing his friend down the path God wanted him to go. So important. He would lose his friend. He wouldn't see him again. They wouldn't share in their friendship. It was a change that would cause Jonathan great pain. And yet, he was willing to let go and push his friend forward. You know, friendship and deepening friendship, it always takes an investment. An investment of any kind always assumes risk. But can I just say today, taking whatever friendships you have and deepening them with investment is so worth the risk of someone rejecting you because they disagree. Because when you find that true friend, they will be there for you no matter what. They will help you live your life forward. They will push you on the path that God has for you. They will pick you up when you fall down. They will hold you up when you get weak. And they will be there for you when life gets toughest. True friend, it's something we need. Are you willing to take the risk to deepen your friendships and invest in them? Let's pray. Dear God, thank you so much for being our friend first. In John 15, you say that you no longer call us servants, but you call us your friends, and that there is no greater love than one who will lay down his life for his friends. We thank you that we don't have to fear rejection because you've accepted us. We thank you that we don't have to impress anybody because you already love us as we are. We thank you that even when people and friends will turn their back on us and reject us, you will not through our faith in Jesus Christ. Thank you for being our friend first. It's what provides us with the courage to go forward, to invest in deepening relationships, and to risk. Would you help us be courageous enough to take our relationships way beyond just subsurface? We thank you for your love for us. In Jesus' name, amen.